good evening, everybody, and welcome to Trellis's Mindful Mandala Making. My name is Joan Wilson, and I'm Project Advisor with Trellis. And with me this evening is my colleague, Jenny Simpson. Give us a hello, Jenny.
Hi.
And Jenny is our Trellis Information Training and Fieldworker Coordinator. For those who might be new to us, Trellis is the place to come to for know-how about therapeutic horticulture, which is the art of using gardening activity and a connection with the outdoors to help take care of physical, emotional and social well-being. Now, I was going to do a wee bit of housekeeping and ask everyone to make sure their name was on screen, but everybody's name is on screen, so thank you very much. And also, when Jenny starts to manage the session, the actual activity, I'm sure you'll all be absorbed in the activity itself. But if you do want to ask questions or comments during the session, pop them into the chat, please. And then we can have a wee bit of a discussion at the end. Thanks very much. So I'm just going to share my screen and just a wee introduction. Okay, so what is a mandala? In the most basic form, mandalas are a circular geometric design that is steeped and symbolic in Buddhist and Hindu cultures. They can be made on paper or cloth, built in stone or in bronze, or even created in sand, and they are as intricate as the owner chooses to make them. Mandalas traditionally can be used as a mechanism for meditation and as symbols for prayer. However, many other cultures across the world also make mandalas in some form or other. And for many, creating a mandala for themselves means meditation and calm, saying that when creating the artwork, they feel more peaceful with a sensation of connection between body and mind. And of course, if collecting natural materials, such as what we've maybe done this afternoon, such as leaves and seeds, to use in making a mandala, this supports engagement with nature, which contributes to both our emotional and physical well-being also. But enough of me talking. I'm going to hand over to Jenny now, and she will lead on the session. Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, Joan, and thank you for these lovely pictures and images of mandalas. They look beautiful and from these lovely warm countries and all these beautiful colours. It's quite inspiring to see them. And I hope that you'll be inspired today to make a mandala yourself. We've sent out some information to help you do some preparation, but if you haven't managed to do that, it doesn't matter. You can just follow us and see what we're doing. So I did a bit of preparation today for this session, and it's been very wet here in Scotland today, and so I had to get the welly boots on and a big coat and a hat and go out to the garden. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that and go out to the garden and collect some plant materials for tonight's session. So I took out my scissors and my little box, and it was lovely. It felt lovely and cool and damp on my face, and actually my hands were freezing. I wish I'd take my gloves with me, but it was just lovely to get out in the fresh air. So it was really nice. And so think about that for the people that you're caring for. It's very important to get out and feel the weather on your skin from time to time. It just makes you feel alive. It was just lovely. So having said that, it was very nice to come back inside into the dry and warm, and I had to lay out all my things that I had picked because they're so wet. I had to put them out on some newspaper to dry for a couple of hours this afternoon. So that was great. And while I was outside, actually my dog came out with me, and I went round to the front garden, and she escaped and ran down the street to meet another dog, and I had to go out after her and bring her back. And anyway, so I had a nice actual conversation with another dog walker who was walking up the street, and so that was lovely. It was an unexpected social encounter, just outside my front garden. So these small things, exchanging hellos and meeting people, are all part of the process and your experience when you're out there gathering these things. So it's very important for well-being to do that, and as well as the pleasure of actually collecting the plant material, there's these incidental things that happen, and that's lovely for everyone. So let's take a look at what you need to make your mandala today. I've got a few things here. I'm just going to actually slide over to my other table. Sorry, Joan, you'll have to spotlight me over here. Thanks. So I've got a few things here. Just let's see. So we sent out this colour chart if anybody wanted to go and choose some things that actually matched the colours on here. So that was nice. That was a nice exercise if you wanted to extend your activity. So that was good. That was that, and there is some of the information we sent out. So what to do? You need something to put your materials on. So you can choose a tea tray, something like that is quite good. It's got some sides on it that gives you quite a nice large area to work on. If you had a tray that already had a pattern on it, but you wanted to sort of make it plain, you could just put a sheet of paper on top, and that would let you do that. Or you can just make it on a sheet of paper itself, like that. Or if you have a nice piece of material, so a sheet or a pillowcase or just a lovely bit of material that you have, you can use that too. And you can make them any size. They can be small, or they can be as big as you want. You could also use a plate. I've got a paper plate here, and you could use your paper plate. But I've also got this plate, which I don't know if you can see that too well. I'll try and make it shiny. But I've got some double-sided tape on here. So I've done that because I'd quite like my mandala to stay put and let me display it on the wall. So that's why I've done that. I'll spend a bit of time picking off the top of that so that it's sticky. But I wanted to make it a sticky one. So you can use all these things to put your plant material on. And it's also good to have a phone or a camera as well, so that you can take a photograph of your mandala and be able to share it with people. And you can share yours with us towards the end of the session. That would be lovely if you can do that. So when you've made your mandala, you can keep it. You might want to put it on a side table or on the dining table or on a windowsill to enjoy. You can have it as a lovely centerpiece on your table and be able to use it to encourage and engage your clients in conversation. So before I invite you to take your plant materials and create your mandala, I'm going to encourage you to savour the sensory aspects of some of the plants that you've gathered. And I'll just bring mine over here just to let you have a little look. So when you're handling your material, I'm going to just dig down in here because I found this lovely big leaf, lovely big waxy leaf outside, so you can see this. So take time to enjoy, feel that with your fingers, and use your fingers to feel it and look at the lovely shine on that leaf. And so consider the colour and the texture, the look of it, and if there's any smell. Does it smell of anything? This one doesn't, but it might. And how it feels. So this is a way of connecting to nature and materials in a mindful way, by just taking your time and examining the objects, the plant materials that you have, and how they look and how they feel, what colour they are, how they're constructed. Some of these are very, very intricate. You can see that. have to practice with my camera angle. You can see that tiny little dark coloured fruit. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things here, and I hope that you've managed to collect some yourselves. This is a bit of buddleia, which is very interesting. It's got very dark, textured leaf top, and then underneath, very pale and beautiful veins there. It's just a work of art itself. It's just gorgeous. So take time to look at all these different things. If you couldn't get outside, you can have a look round your kitchen and your house plants. I've got some beautiful leaves here. I don't know if you can see if they're very shiny. They've got lovely silvery stripes and burgundy tips and stripes around the outside. These are lovely. So I just nipped those off a house plant. I've got them in this little tray. And some blueberries. I found those in the kitchen. They're lovely blueberries. I think they're quite magical. Got some of those. And these lovely red leaves. It's from my leftover from my Christmas house plant. I can't remember the name of it. Poinsettia. So they're all lovely. And I've also got some lovely green. These are lovely evergreen leaves, and they've got quite a nice bit of scent about them, as well as this very beautiful one I'll show you. It's a Christmas rose. See that? See that? Beautiful yellow lemon stamens inside and petals. They're just gorgeous, and so much detail in there. You can see that. It's amazing. So take lots of time to have a very good look at the materials you've got in front of you. And enjoy holding them and feeling them and looking at their texture. It's lovely. So allow yourself lots of time and remind yourself that the process is important in this, paying attention to the materials and enjoy placing them on your background. So I'll invite you now to make a start, if you haven't already, to get your materials out and let's create a lovely mandala. And we'll take around 20 minutes or so just to do this, work our way, use our materials, and see what we can create this evening. I was reading in one of our fact sheets that it's kind of traditional to start in the centre. So you can do that if you like. You don't have to. Don't feel that you have to follow any rules, really, when you're doing this. Just see what you like. I'm not going to be able to get this. You're using double-sided tape. So I'm going to abandon that. But just do it. So I'm going to place my rose in the centre. Okay. you can take, you have some flowers, it's quite nice sometimes to take the petals off and use them individually if you have any. Place them where you feel looks good on your background. Nice thing about not sticking them down, of course, is you can move them wherever you like. You decide if you change your mind later. Now, the nice thing about this is you can either use your fingers just to pull leaves off, or just a pair of children's safety scissors here. Sharp enough, you don't need any specialist secateurs or anything like that. Just simple scissors or your fingers if you're dexterous enough. Got some nice heather here, which actually the colours are matching the Christmas rose in the centre. It's got tiny, tiny flowers. To put these on. It's always so interesting when you're doing this with a group of people, because everybody's is, very different. Everybody has such different ideas and ways that they want to display things. So it's always lovely to see everybody's creations. And I've got these leaves, these are very hairy, actually. I don't know if you can see, they've got hairs on. These are poppy leaves of poppies. They're just sprouting up in my garden just now. It's lovely. Some big red flowers later on in the late spring. Still around. This is when I wish I'd got a plate about 3 times the size. Might spread out on the table, actually. That's what I'll do. Start one there. It's turning out to be quite circular, but I think it doesn't have to be shape. You can any shape you my plates that dictated that. And I like circular patterns. It's something quite satisfying. You might want to make yours very symmetrical, Or you might want to make it very asymmetrical. Let's decide when you're laying your materials down to do. Oh, I've got the last of the snowdrops on. They're all beginning to go over. So I felt I could cut them today without feeling guilty. Sometimes odd numbers of things work quite well in patterns. Just depends. And it just becomes really quite absorbing. Just in these things and deciding to put the rest of the world disappears. Again, just got such a gorgeous feeling to say I don't appreciate them so lovely. So I brought them in today. If you're not actually doing this yourself and you're watching me, this will be a version of what we call slow television in the UK. We have some lovely slow television programs, which are usually things like watching wildlife, watching swans glide past on water, or chugging down a river on a barge, or something slowly floating, soothing. So I think this is soothing. Just just have another, so just slightly carry on creating. Some of these lovely hydrangeas. I find hydrangeas grow well in my garden. I have quite a few different types. Some of those ones have got very big flowers. Go to this one, just got lots of smaller, pretty papery ones with dried heads. So dried very well. They're soaking this afternoon. It's actually a shame that foliage was all lovely and shiny when I brought it indoors with the damp on it. It looked very lush, but it's interesting that when it's dried out, it looks different. It's a good job. So as you can tell by my silence there, I got quite lost in doing that. It's very nice to do these little repetitive things like cutting the flowers up and placing them carefully. More is more approach now. So this when it's full top. Yeah. I'm going to stop there. Give you a couple of minutes just to do a little more if you're doing this. Here's how are we doing?
That looks beautiful. I'm
Oh,
just
thank
enjoying watching it's just very relaxing, and there's a few comments in the chat just saying it's very meditative, just doing, and I'm about sleeping here watching you.
Well, it was lovely. I got quite absorbed in that and forgot I was actually doing this in front of people. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? That you can just, and it's so simple. You're not doing anything technically difficult there. It's just all about holding it, looking at it, setting it down.
It was almost hypnotic, just watching your hands just place, and I wasn't second guessing where you were going to put the piece. It was just it was very relaxing. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Well, it's a pleasure. I hope everybody enjoyed doing that.
Okay, so I've got a question for you, Jenny, from Fumi. Wait till we find it again. Fumi's wondering if there is a way to preserve your artwork for a while other than to take a photograph of it, perhaps like drying, or basically a way to let children take it home safely without ruining it.
Yes, I think if you're able to use the double-sided tape, which I wasn't able to do because it just got too finicky to pick off to take the top off, but if you can do it like that, what you could do is use clear, you can get that clear sticky, I don't know what it's called, sticky back plastic, but it's clear, and so it's sticky, so you would have it, cut out a square of it, I think, and then place your mandala on top, and then you could probably put another bit of sticky back on top of it to make a sandwich so that your flowers and plant material was inside it, and that would trap it together. I don't know how long it would last. I think some things you can spray with water to kind of just keep them moist a little bit, and you could maybe pop it outside if you made it on a tray. But they are quite ephemeral, I think, if you make it with plant material, unless it's things that dry well.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit of a fudgy answer, but I think it's quite an ephemeral thing.
I think actually mandalas, one of the thinkings behind it, the beliefs behind it is, you know, it is a capturing a moment in time, and you know, like you're being in that moment, in the activity, and it's accepting that nothing stays forever.
Yes.
And like, you know, sort of, because some of the mandalas that you see them making in sand, part of the act is actually breaking it up.
Right.
So you've made it, and then it disperses.
Right.
But yes, definitely, it would be lovely to keep it for longer. Now, I wonder, and I've not tried this, I wonder if you were to make it on, you know, like a sheet of A4 paper or an A3 paper, and if you're laminating pouches, you could actually put it through a laminator.
A laminator, okay.
Yeah. I've not tried that, but I'm going to try that now.
That's an idea.
See how effective that would be. So for me, maybe that's something. I've no idea how it works. If the foliage and the petals would be so delicate that they would bend.
Yeah.
I just don't know, but I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You'd have to choose things that were flat to get it through the laminator.
Yes.
Yeah. So you couldn't have anything too bulky.
Yeah. I think your blueberries would be blueberry jam at the end of it.
It'd be splat.
Yes, we've got a couple of nice comments, just how lovely it is and really enjoying. Now I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the lovely name, but the name is from the Ukraine. So I'm sorry, I'm not even going to attempt to say your name, but thank you for your lovely comments. Thank you.
That's nice.
Great. Does anybody, I don't know if anybody is able to put their cameras on perhaps and just show us what you've made, if you're able to sort of like move your camera to an angle that we could get to see what you guys have been up to for the last wee while. Maybe not possible, because I know we've got a couple of poor Wi-Fi connections, so people are preserving their bandwidth by not putting their cameras on, which is fine.
That's fine. Oh, well, it's lovely. I can highly recommend it. It's a lovely activity to do, and I think, and I know we've done this before with a colleague, haven't we, Joan? And we had a large number of people actually doing this with us on Zoom, and it was amazing how different everybody's mandala was, wasn't it? I mean, there was such a huge variety of them, so many different backgrounds, and some people had done really large ones on the floor with a big sheet of material, you know, with a big sheet of material, and beautiful big sort of, there was one big spiral arms on it. It's just fantastic. So you can have all sorts, and or down to a plate size. It's really adaptable, I think, for all sorts of different.
One of our colleagues, Emma, you might recall Emma did she not make one with a group where everybody, it was like a joint mandala? That was beautiful. That was large. That was a really nice activity. I remember Emma talking about that.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Because everybody could add a bit that they wanted to add to it, and that would be a lovely activity. Did she do that with children? Was that a children? No, it wasn't a children's group. It was a group of. I think it was a group of adult social work. I think it was adults.
Yeah.
It looked fantastic. It was very lush, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
So, all ages, for all ages and abilities, it's a great activity to do.
And even, you know, like sort of like if you weren't able to get outside because of the weather or because there were no plants available, you know, even to sort of like if you had some old fabric that you could cut up depending on the group's ability, but you know, like even just as like sort of like shreds of different fabrics or newspapers or magazines, and cutting out shapes within the magazines, or you know, like getting tissue paper and scrunching up tissue paper, and then you could maybe glue sticks. I'm thinking about the children one, like glue blobs. You could like stick the tissue
and just stick tissue. Yeah.
that
Absolutely. Yeah. Or you can raid the kitchen for, dried vegetables, peas and beans and pulses and all sorts of lentils, all sorts of different things you could try with that. Absolutely.